What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Big Cal, man. Back in the building. 5:30 in the morning, man. Come up with that good smoke, that good ish, that good talk, that good radio talk, that good discussion, that ghetto gospel on a Sunday. Let's sit down, have this discussion about the AO. Looks like the AOC is tearing into the healthcare cuts, ICE expansion, and all the details of the beautiful bill, man. We're gonna get down to it, man. Hit that like button, come in, tap in. It's your favorite neighborhood security officer checking in with you. It's your boy, Big Cal. Holla at your boy, man. We're gonna talk about this situation right here, man. Let's delve into this big bill, get some questions answered. See what's popping, man.
And let's dive into it. So this slide here, we're giving you a very quick overview of some of the topics that we are going to be tackling today. I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about what I've been up to this week in our district work period, but we've been doing a lot more than this. Some legislative updates and what I personally have been working on in Washington. And then what we're going to do is an overview of the OBBBA, that Trump's one big, beautiful bill act, which is a big, ugly mess that will be having a lot of challenging consequences for our community.
We got to see the rhetoric and the phrase and the wording in which they're being directed toward this bill, man. So we got to know what's going on. But we're going to listen to it, pay attention, see what's going on. I heard a lot of conflicting stories concerning this bill that was, I guess, passed by the Senate or the House. I can't remember exactly which one. But we're going to talk about this thing, try to see what we can give our opinion on basically what we hear and hear some of these pundits and political pundits give their opinion and try to break down the whole bill. I know it's a lot of writing, a lot of underwriting, a lot of jargon, legal jargon that, we're just going to try to break down to the best of our abilities and really just see and delve into seeing what's going on. So this is Republican Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat of New York, and she's holding a virtual town hall meeting to discuss this situation. So being a Democrat, we ought to know how that goes. A lot of times we can't be bipartisan. We can't take our loyalties out of the situation and our feelings and emotions out of the situation. So we got to see how this thing really breaks down, man. Let's see what's up, man.
But we are not going to be presenting this from a place of despair. It's very important to me that I both inform our community of, yes, some of these devastating impacts, but I also want to come from the perspective of this is what we need to prepare for, and I want to point you in some directions in how we prepare ourselves for what is to come. And we're also not giving up on the fight to make sure that we can do everything we can to either pause or reverse some of these changes that the Trump administration and the Republican majority has been enacting in Congress. After that, I'll be providing some district updates and we'll go into the Q&A. So let's jump right into it, let you know some of what I've been up to this district work period. Next up in the slide. Great. So our district work period, this is what I've been up to just this week alone. On Monday, I was really proud.
I don't give a shit what the hell you've been doing. I want to hear about the big, beautiful bill, bitch.
And let's dive into it. So this slide here, we're giving you a very...
I'm not from New York, so that's kind of a tough one, too. Let's see what's going on. See if we can find something a little bit more relevant.
We're at, and we need to expound on that. Now, this move will save the tax.
Tommy Tuberville.
It's not going to cost more. It's going to cut $480 million. We have the plans intact. It'll be behind a secure wall in Huntsville, Alabama, at Redstone Arsenal. We have 40,000 people there. We have the FBI there. We have missile defense there. We have NASA, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. It is the perfect place for Space Command. I would tell you today, And I've spoke with the president for the last 3 or 4 years about this. If I thought it needed to go somewhere else because I understand the security of our country, I'd be for that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to building a huge space.
Huntsville, Alabama is a law enforcement town, man. That's one thing I've heard about Huntsville, Alabama. They ain't playing with niggas down there. They are locking them up left and right, locking up everybody. They are a no nonsense when it comes to criminality type town. Similar to a town I grew up in.
Exactly the right place for Space Force and Space Command. I think Americans ought to appreciate the fact that you can't win the battle of the future unless you control the skies. The cyber security, the communications, the entire infrastructure of the battle in the 21st century will be in space. So it was a visionary move in the first administration for the president to set up Space Force, and I think an equally visionary move to make sure the Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, anybody want to say anything? Would you like to say?
Mr. President, another promise made, another promise kept. You think about it, Redstone Arsenal is critical to national security. The president said when you were the 45th president, let's do what's right for national security. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. It's not because of this or that. It's because it's right for national security. You think of the 21 categories that were evaluated to determine what was best for national security. All indicators pointed back to Huntsville, Alabama, and Redstone Arsenal. We have the right people at the right place at the right time. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of the 5th Congressional District and all of Alabama, thank you for keeping your word. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Anybody?
Let me just say, Mr. President, I want to say thank you. And thank you for doing this because it was the right thing to do. When they looked at all the numbers, Huntsville was the place to go, and like you say, it was unfortunately pulled out, but you made it right. So I want to just say thank you again for a grateful nation, and to the state of Alabama, we're very grateful. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Throughout history, militaries has always understood that whoever could hold the high ground held the advantage. Space is the ultimate high ground. And what we're doing with moving the Space Command.
Wow. Whoa. That is some group of people. Thousands. So nice. Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you. It's great to be at Trump Tower. It's great to be in a wonderful city, New York. And it's an honor to have everybody here. This is beyond anybody's expectations. There's been no crowd like this. And I can tell you, some of the candidates, they went in, they didn't know the air conditioner didn't work. They sweated like dogs. They didn't know the room was too big because they didn't have anybody there. How are they going to beat ISIS? Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. Hello, madam.
Trump is really a character for real, man. Definitely funny as shit without even trying.
First Lady. Thank you very much for being here. And Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, First Lady of the United States, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and world leaders. 6 years have passed since I last stood in this grand hall and addressed a world that was prosperous and at peace in my first term. Since that day, the guns of war have shattered the peace I forged on 2 continents. An era of calm and stability gave way to one of the great crises of our time. And here in the United States, 4 years of weakness, lawlessness, and radicalism under the last administration delivered our nation into a repeated set of disasters. 1 year ago, our country was in deep trouble, but today, just 8 months into my administration, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, and there is no other country even close. America is blessed with the strongest economy.
One thing I dislike about America, though, is, man, it's just so internally divisive over the most pettiest things. You know, this country could be such a beautiful place if we just weren't so caught up in infighting and just being right all the time. You know what I'm saying? As far as political parties, just just all the issues that divide us as a nation. You know, if we could just come together and eradicate just a little bit of the divisiveness and the negativity at the bottom, you know, we'd be in a much better place, man. Like, you hear people crying and talking about or complaining about potentially losing a lot of government subsidies with this big, beautiful bill. And it's like, to me, I think certain communities will not be affected by this because they have a sense of pride, unity, and cooperation with each other that has been evident for decades, years. You know, when they put the things together, put their community initiatives and things like that together, they're not thinking about having to be dependent on the government. You know, they have a system in place. A lot of these communities, Hispanic communities, Latino communities, Jewish communities, Asian communities, Indian communities, they have churches, mosques, you know, doctors, private practices, all type of things where they don't have to go to the man. They have people that are trained and educated and willing to help each other without a dollar and the price amount being the main influence over why they're doing what they're doing, as far as just doing work in the community. It's gotta have you have to have a community sense of pride when you're just living in life. You have to have a community sense of pride. Like, to me, that's one of the most basic necessities that you must ascribe to as a people. You have to unify. You have to cooperate. You have to use your resources that you acquired, whether it be mental, physical, you know, materials, and you have to use those means to be productive as a community. You cannot sit back and rely on government subsidies to basically take care of your everyday way of life. That's just how I look at things. You know, you can't sit back and wait on Social Security. That's what family is for, you know, and that's really the biggest thing that I say, and that I'm very disappointed in the Black community over, is just the lack of family unity. You know, just having that family unity as far as just finances, because as you delve into that aging population, you can't be reliant on Uncle Sam for every little nook and cranny of your life. You know, that's to me, that's not what the government was meant for originally. The government was not meant to control your life. It was not meant to control every aspect of your life. It is not meant to be a crutch for you to live off your entire life for. It is just that. You know, it's a simple method of assistance for people who need it. So people are obviously abusing these government subsidies. You know, we have illegal immigrants. We have people that obviously cheat the system, who probably are well off and do not deserve to be getting these type of subsidies, but they obviously are obtaining them. So the system is being abused. It's being stressed out, and it's obviously trickling down to other areas of this country. So I'm not mad at them and the Doge unit for wanting to trim the fats on. Not mad at them at all.
The strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation on the face of the earth. This is indeed the golden age of America. We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous price increases and record-setting inflation like we've never had before. Under my leadership, energy costs are down, gasoline prices are down, grocery prices are down, mortgage rates are down, and inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit a record high. In fact, hit a record high 48 times in the last short period of time.
Trump.
Growth is surging, manufacturing is booming. The stock market, as I said, is doing better than it's ever done. And all of you in this room benefit by that, almost everybody. And importantly, workers' wages are rising at the fastest pace in more than 60 years. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? In 4 years of President Biden, we had less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion is being invested in the United States, and it's now pouring in from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business. And many of the people in this room are investing in America, and it's turned out to be an awfully good investment during this 8-month period. In my first term, I built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had the best economy ever, history of the world. And I'm doing the same thing again, but this time it's actually much bigger and even better. The numbers far surpass my record-setting first term. On our southern border, we have successfully repelled a colossal invasion. And for the last 4 months, and that's 4 months in a row, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering our country has been 0. Hard to believe, because if you look back just a year ago, it was millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers. All over the world they came. They just poured into our country with the ridiculous open border policy of the Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means. I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've.
Shit, what's worse than that? He gonna execute these motherfuckers? Shit. Trump ain't playing around. That boy Trump is a bad mother. Shut your motherfucking mouth. I'm just talking about Shaq now. Bad mother, shut your mouth.
Done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country. And it was under the previous administration that the number became record-setting, and they're all being taken out. We have no choice. And other countries have no choice, because other countries are in the exact same situation with immigration. It's destroying your country, and you have to do something about it. On the world stage, America is respected again like it has never been respected before. You think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or 1 year ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending at my request from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful than it was ever before. In May, I traveled to the Middle East to visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, and other countries are now, I believe, closer than ever before. My administration has negotiated one historic trade deal after another, including with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many, many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7
unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, two of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there.
Me, nigger.
I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action. Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with their mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars. What I care about is not winning prizes, it's saving lives. We saved millions and millions of lives with the 7 wars. And we have others that we're working on, and you know that. Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo, do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator, they still haven't finished the job. They still haven't finished. That was years ago. The project was so corrupt that Congress actually asked me to testify before them on the tremendous waste of money, because it turned out that they had no idea what it was, but they knew it was anywhere between $2 and $4 billion as opposed to $500 million with a guarantee. But they had no idea, and I said it cost much more than $5 billion. Unfortunately, many things in the United Nations are happening just like that, but on an even much bigger scale, much, much bigger. Very sad to see. Whether the UN can manage to play a productive role, I've come here today to offer the hand of American leadership and friendship to any nation in this assembly that is willing to join us in forging a safer, more prosperous world. And it's a world that we'll be much happier with. A dramatically better future is within our reach. But to get there, we must reject the failed approaches of the past and work together to confront some of the greatest threats in history. There is no more serious danger to our planet today than the most powerful and destructive weapons ever devised by man, of which the United States, as you know, has many. Just as I did in my first term, I've made containing these threats a top priority, starting with the nation of Iran. My position is very simple. The world's number one sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon. That's why shortly after taking office, I sent the so-called Supreme Leader a letter making a generous offer. I extended a pledge of full cooperation in exchange for a suspension of Iran's nuclear program. The regime's answer was to continue their constant threats to their neighbors and U.S. interests throughout the region and some great countries that are right nearby. Today, many of Iran's former military commanders, in fact, I can say almost all of them, are no longer with us. They're dead. And 3 months ago, in Operation Midnight Hammer, 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating everything. No other country on earth could have done what we did. No other country has the equipment to do what we did. We have the greatest weapons on earth. We hate to use them. But we did something that for 22 years people wanted to do. With Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity demolished, I immediately brokered an end to the 12-day war, as it's called, between Israel and Iran, with both sides agreeing to fight no longer. As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire. Instead of giving to Hamas and giving so much, because they've taken so much, this could have been solved so long ago. But instead of giving in to Hamas's ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now. Just release the hostages now. Thank you. as we have got to come together, and we will come together, going to get it done. We have to.
Trump. United Nations, man. He's voicing his displeasure about the United Nations. I feel it.
Ms. Adams, her closing remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you once again to our witnesses for speaking with us today. Since President Trump took office and congressional Republicans lined up to do his bidding, college has gotten less accessible and more expensive. As the cost of college continues to rise, students and families need adequate transparency and meaningful support.
Mayor Bowser, I'm really not trying to disrespect you, but how much has crime decreased?
Oh,
I
mentioned already and let me look at my numbers, that the federal surge produced a 39% decrease in violent crime.
39% decrease in violent
and that's
crime
on
in
top,
the nation's capital.
Let me just add, that's on top of the 26% decrease that we were already experiencing.
So it seems that the president's surge was more effective than your own efforts. What did you say?
But the full statistic is a little different.
Chairman Mendelson, I didn't ask you a question.
I know,
Relax,
but the
hang
full
on.
statistic is a little different.
Actually, Chairman, let me ask you this question. Because you butted in, now let me ask you.
Sure.
What is the current status of the Metropolitan Police Department in terms of staffing? How many officers do you have on the beat?
I believe it's less than 3,100.
Okay. Is the MPD fully staffed?
In my view, no.
So is a surge of federal law enforcement into the federal enclave, which the mayor has acknowledged is the primary responsibility of the federal government, isn't it simple logic to say that the president's surge has been helpful to safety and security in the district?
Yeah, man. It's your boy Big Cal, but yeah, I'm about to get up out of here. Man. Hey, I gotta figure out these live times so I can get a little bit more popping. I can get these damn views up. But yeah, I gotta find me some better topics as well, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in with Big Cal TNP, man. I ain't really give y'all the best episode on this one, man, but we'll be back. We'll be back with some real shit. Just gotta come back, go back to the drawing board, get this thing popping. Hit that like button, subscribe. Appreciate you tapping in with Big Cal TNP, man. We're gonna come back with some real banging ass hits and real big topics, man. Controversial